Almond.
Yeah, it's like, I'll take that.
Yeah. Close enough,
enough.
right? Yeah. But
Close enough.
yeah, but out of curiosity, like what kind of, and obviously I've seen your guys like live shows and everything, kind of seen the evolution of it, but I'm curious, like what prompted this kind of change in your sound?
I think this record is kind of the first one where it feels like we're more departing from influences necessarily and more sounding like ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, and that the songs have been written in a more cooperative environment.
Yeah.
And that's something even with our newer material too that isn't been recorded yet.
Yeah.
And since Seth was like, this was the first album where Seth was working on it from the very beginning with us.
Yeah.
And so we had to start, or at least I had to start like changing the way I played around the way he played.
Yeah, we all did.
I'm very glad you guys brought, because that was something I was curious about. And during this gentleman, I mean, he figures a lot more prominently in a lot of these songs.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I was wondering if you guys could talk a little bit, like how has that kind of changed the dynamic?
Well, before it was like more like garage rock, I felt like. So at least for my drums, I tried to keep them as like resonant as possible and loud and like noisy. So I had to draw that back and take all the resonance out so I could hear all like his fingerings and stuff on the song, or all the little things. So it became more of like a funk, rather than garage rock or something like that, headbanger stuff. Even though we still do that stuff, but it's like
It's more about like learning how to all do it together tastefully. Like
What do you think?
Yeah, I came in basically was like, gotta be clean like Aria Speedwagon. You guys aren't gonna do that.
No more of this, like,
polished as
That's pretty much, what happened. I got my way.
He got his way.
They're like coming in, I think Totems, I came in for like a couple days in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the first time I remember seeing you play with them was like the release show, like at the water cooler.
Oh,
I want to say, so
man. Now it's switched more to squishy robot noises and soundscapes and
It works. I dig it. I dig it a lot.
Yeah, along with the funk element, I feel like Seth brought an experimental element too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And it's something that like kind of gave us the confidence to kind of get into that realm too. Because I always felt like a little inhibited from like trying to get a little bit more experimental, especially like harmonically.
Yeah.
And then having Seth added to the mix and his experience in music composition, we all kind of took on this whole other level, still all on the same page,
Yeah.
But
I think Ryder, you brought this up. You were talking with my colleague Amy, where just his presence in the band helps kind of, gives you more of an opportunity to stretch out. Because if it's just three of you guys, power trio, like all of you kind of got to work to fill in that sound.
Yeah.
But with him though, it makes it a lot easier to kind of like stretch out and try new things and everything. Yeah.
And to try and be a little more tasteful in the guitar side of things.
Yeah.
Like instead of like being just bashing out power chords nonstop or like massive riffs or something. It's like we're gonna do these nice little things where we can play off each other really well.
Yeah. I do love the interplay between like you two guys on like Chasing Down the Sun or Peter and stuff. It's really cool.
Thank you.
I dig it. Yeah. And like how do you guys, I mean, I know how you guys know each other, but how do you know all these folks here?
I think we met at the 409 house.
Yeah.
I was living up Broad for a bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They played a house show there, and then he came to Caldwell. Our guitars touched and sparked one time, and
literally,
like, it was pretty crazy.
Faulty wiring, but it worked out.
Oh God, that sounds like something like a musical or something. It's like, oh God,
no, it was like, it wasn't just like little sparks. It was like a full,
like
10 circles.
Yeah. I had his Gibson SG, and I just like took it off as quick as I could without like throwing it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man, okay. I gotta get that in the story. You can't make that up right there, man.
The rest is history.
Oh, that's fabulous.
But yeah, like some of the songs, like the Zephyr was one that we wrote that the week of the Totems release show.
Really?
And it was like, it's just, hey, let's write a song before this release show.
Yeah.
And then, so we got kind of the first part nailed down, and then it just started growing and growing thanks to Seth's contributions on it. Especially there's, you know, some super luscious keyboard soundscapes toward the end.
Yeah.
I remember recording the upright piano part. You can actually like hear him
And hear like
breathing.
the pedals move and you hear him breathing.
It's very intimate.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's a little bit of spaciness in the whole thing. And I feel like, you know, it kind of taps into this pet theory that I have where it's like there's a certain kind of sound that like bands from this region kind of get. Like, well, I mean, the great example is like Sunblood Stories for me, but also, I mean, like groups like, you know, like Wolf Serpent or even Built to Spill to some extent, you know, like Perfect From Now On or something like that, where it really stretching out, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think we experimented a lot in like instrumentation too.
Yeah.
We added so many new like layers and color and richness to all of these songs in this album, and I think that's why we wanted like the cover and all of the images used corresponding with the album to be colorful, because it's the most colorful album we've ever released.
Sure. And it sort of signals a change of pace too from Totems, where it was just straight like black and white.
Yeah,
you know?
with like dark themes and yeah.
Well, this just has so many tracks that are just like a snippet of like a couple seconds. It's the sad. The only time like you hear that sound in the song. Like all the songs are just full of these little tiny moments, little tiny things occurring rather than this big heavy.
Just heavy
Big
riffs,
sound.
just like heavy riffing and just it's very cool. Very cool. And well, thinking of just sort of mixing in different elements, one thing was kind of curious about. I mean, as I mentioned, I mean, you guys have been busy like doing a lot of other stuff outside of this. I mean, obviously, you know, you're doing stuff with Gypsy Moonrise. You've got your solo shows. You have Blood Lemon, and you know, Girl Crew also, and then just doing all these different things.
Prairie Mantis, not Girl Crew. But
Oh, no, Prairie Mantis. Excuse me. Yeah, my bad.
No, it's all
But
good.
yeah, but I was curious. Do you feel that this is like working on these different things? Like, has that helped kind of like has that changed like how you guys go about doing things, or?
I think so. Totally.
Absolutely. That it's to where like Marshall Poole isn't the sole creative outlet that we have. So it's like you're more open to hearing what somebody else wants to lay down on something, or you know, to making the songwriting process extremely cooperative from everybody, because you're not like, no, this is my only outlet, like this has to be this way.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's nice.
All kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, and like all four of us, we are so diverse and we play so many different genres of music and different projects, and I think it's important for all of us to like make sure that we're tapping into those different things, even if it isn't in Marshall Poole, you know. I mean, like, you think Seth is crazy here in Marshall Poole, but like Fish Market is all over. It's awesome.
Yeah.
A bunch of
King
synth.
Studios, we got a show coming up. Just three
Oh.
guys with a bunch of synths we don't know how to use. Going for it with slow-mo videos of mannequin heads getting blown up.
Nice.
Pulling hamburger meat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good. That's the literal description on Bandcamp right there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Who are the other two guys?
Ashton Jenisek and Sean Dahman.
Okay.
They're both
Okay.
in Saint Terrible.
Yeah, it's like I know those
The
names.
bass player and the keyboard player.
Oh, okay. Right on. Hey, you can get amazing things when you don't know what you're doing, honestly.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you never fail because you really don't know what you're doing in the first place. So
Right. You know, like I'm sure you guys know the story of when, you know, David Bowie and Brian Eno got together to do Low, and they got like, you know, it's like brand spanking new synthesizers and everything, and you know, they got like this instruction manual. It was like this fucking big, right? and you know, they just look at each other and say, fuck that. Let's see what this does right here, you know? Yeah. And that's how they made the album, so yeah.
Like the Beatles on Abbey Road with that road,
right.
not knowing what it even did.
Yeah.
And then like, well, let's just press buttons till something sounds good.
Yeah.
Plug stuff in.
Until something works.
For sure, man. Let me see here. Well, gosh, okay. Honestly, I think we've covered pretty much everything I was going to ask. So
I thought it might be good maybe to plug our video. Maybe Mel can explain where she got the ideas for it.
Plug the video, which video?
Chasing Down the Sun.
Oh, yeah.
Mention that.
Yeah. So.
How you made it.
So, yeah, our music video, Chasing Down the Sun, it's technically our first single from this album.
Yeah.
But So It Goes was just so different. I know that some people are saying that one's our first single. But, with Chasing Down the Sun, this last summer, right? It was our tour last summer.
Mm-hmm.
We went on tour extensively through the Northwest. So I just shot a bunch of footage of us just hanging out on tour and playing shows, and I had some people in the crowd like shoot stuff, and because it just kind of captured to me what that song means.
Yeah.
For Chasing Down the
Yeah, it
Sun.
really feels like a home video.
Yeah, it feels like a home video, and it plays into the whole idea of us living together and traveling together and chasing something that's, you know, pretty crazy and unattainable.
Yeah.
You know? But still doing it anyways for the fun of it and for the enjoyment of it. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because that is one feeling I got listening to this album. I feel like it's more grounded, sort of in just reality, like day-to-day life, than Totems was. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I know for me, some of the lyrics that I wrote and some of the songs, it was a little bit more politically driven.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And you know, with Ryder, you talk a lot about, you know, reality and your state of mind at the time.
Yeah, and like the final song's basically escaping from all of it, I would say.
Yeah.
Something great about this record is, you know, when I get to listen through it, I get to remember all of the fun we had at, you know, what we called the Pool House on Pasadena Drive, where, you know, the songs were written, we practiced them, and then ended up recording parts for a lot of them.
The nicest AC unit.
God.
That basement. Felt nice always.
Yeah. I do miss practicing.
Yes,
there.
me too. That was so nice.
Yeah, man. It's great you have these drums. And it's a funny thing too, is like, wow, you guys really are kind of like grizzled veterans by this point, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, we're still learning.
Oh yeah, always still learning.
For sure, man. Yeah.
I think it's been really interesting too that everyone's kind of been experimenting a lot and doing their own projects, because it's been really fun to come back to practice with each other and bringing these like little things that we learn from other people, and whether that's like musically or just different ideologies or it's really nice.
Awesome. Well, here I think that might be a good way of kind of leading into the last question I had, where obviously, you know, you're going to be going out on the road pretty soon. But yeah, do you guys have any plans for the future, like material, projects? You know,
we got almost another record worth of stuff written.
Yeah.
Really?
We've had 2 years to write it.
Yeah. We almost have a whole other record ready to go. I would almost say like the Zephyr kind of represents the direction that our newer stuff goes.
Cool.
What do you think?
Well, the newer stuff, it's a lot of the ideas from this, but it's almost like they're more laser focused.
Yeah.
Like our newer material, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's still the same expansive mindset where a song's gonna twist and turn where it wants to go.
Yeah.
But it's a little
Not as like spacey as this album is. I think it's more like melodically refined.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome, man.
And I know for the time being, I think we're going to be going on tour this year. We don't know exactly when yet, but we plan on touring to support the album. And yeah, in 2 days.
Just for 2 days.
Just for 2 days. It's our whole tour. Yeah, and then, hopefully we'll be able to start working on new stuff as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, more power to you guys.
Yeah.
Look forward to it. Yeah.